Hi guys, welcome back to our channel.
Today we are at Bus Special Vehicles again, and today we are getting our suspension lift changed. We are going from Teraflex to AEV, but more about that in a moment. So now we're in the workshop. I'm with Alex from Bus Special Vehicles, obviously, and our suspension is in. The old stuff's been removed. The new stuff is in. It's not torqued up to spec yet. That will be done on the ground. So basically the reason why we're having this done is, well, we noticed a sag in the back, didn't we?
Yeah.
And mostly that is because we carry a lot of weight. We always camping when we go on road trips and stuff like that, so we've got basically a kitchen in the back and carry weight on the roof, and we've always got weight in the Jeep. And the suspension that we had before was more designed for rock crawling and not so much for not so good at carrying the weight of all the camping gear. The AEV stuff is much better for that, as well as being good for all the off-roading stuff that we do. But I'm not so technically minded about it all, so I'm going to let Alex tell you guys a bit more about the AEV and why they use that.
Yeah, so basically, as many of you know, we are the UK distributor for American Expedition vehicles. What we like about AEV is they take suspension very, very seriously. Suspension and tyres are pretty much the two things which keep the vehicle on the road.
So off-road.
Yeah, either or. But yeah, it's certainly a point of importance. So we're interested in the fact that AEV spend a lot of time researching and developing a product which has a great balance of on-road capability mixed with off-road usability as well. This sort of level of research and development that they go into is somewhat close to what the OEM manufacturer does. AEV also works very closely with the OEM to ensure that all the products that are fitted to the vehicle are perfectly matched. So yeah, AEV very much has an overland approach. The balance between on-road driving and off-road driving is crucial with the AEV kits. Some of the other kits, as you mentioned, more rock crawler orientated, more softer, more compliant over rocks and stuff like that. But what AEV tries to achieve is the best possible handling vehicle on the road, for primary reason being safety, and then second of all, a well-balanced shock and spring package that works perfectly off-road as well.
You were talking about like harmonic balance as well between the springs.
So
what's that? I mean, I don't quite understand that yet.
No, that's fine. What we call the harmonic relationship between the front springs and the rear springs is what enables a vehicle to travel across rough ground and undulations or corrugated roads so perfectly flat. So what that means is, the best way to explain it is that I always give the railway track example. So when the front of the vehicle hits the first section of the railway track, its harmonic relationship, the spring rate, has to match the rear. Otherwise, you get an unbalanced vehicle which starts to buck. So as the rear approaches that bump, the relationship has to be perfectly tuned. So for it to be perfectly tuned, it enables the vehicle to travel across those two bumps as flat as possible. And that's something that is often overlooked.
So it's not just relying on shocks, or dampers, which most people think that does all the work, but
absolutely,
I guess the springs and shocks are working together, aren't they?
Yeah. So the two in harmonic relationship is a massively important factor. As well as that, you've got a Bilstein 5100 shock that is, again, valved specifically for the spring rate. Yeah. Now, a lot of companies will grab an off-the-shelf shock that, yes, it has some form of valving in it, but it has to be valved correctly for A, the spring rate, B, the weight of the vehicle, and etc. So it's very important to get that balance right. Otherwise, you're left with a vehicle that, yeah, it might work okay off-road, because in a slow speed environment, you'll never really find the limits of a shock. However, on the road, where AEV does have a massive push towards making the vehicle handle perfectly, and what we're noticing as well is customers actually getting an improvement over stock. Now, the stock system, the valving is very, what we call wishy-washy. It's not soft, it's not hard. So you've got this happy medium that obviously as an OEM manufacturer, Jeep have to find a happy medium, but with a performance DualSport lift, you get an improvement in ride quality and handling. And as I said previously, the whole purpose of the AEV kit is to have a well-balanced, well-rounded suspension kit that is not a one-trick pony.
And there's also what we didn't get with the Teraflex. I'm not saying anything bad about Teraflex, because it's a very good system. There was a lower control arm which corrected the geometry, but with this one, you got a bracket which is adjusting both top and bottom control arm, isn't it?
Yeah. So traditionally, a lower control arm, a slightly longer lower control arm, will change the caster angle of the front axle. What we've done is included the AEV geometry stamped steel brackets. Now, sometimes these will be frowned upon, again, in the world of hardcore off-road, where 1.5 inches of ground clearance is quite important. A lot of people will say, oh, you're going to lose ground clearance, but these vehicles, with our conditions and 35 or 37 inch tyres, we do lose 1.5 inches roughly on clearance near the geometry.
This is only clearance where the actual bracket is, isn't it? It's not the overall vehicle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just that little bit of bracket, but that is what's doing the job, isn't it? Bringing it down to level off the...
That's it. So by having the geometry correction bracket, what we do is we change the natural arc position of the axle as it travels through its arc. It neutralises that, and in doing so, what you get is you get an arm which is more parallel with the ground. So if you can imagine, if you've got a control arm like this and you're riding over a speed bump, you're actually crashing into it. So the impact resistance...
Pushing the vehicle back as you hit the bump, aren't you?
Yeah,
so it bumps
essentially, yeah. So the impact resistance is much greater when you've got a geometry correction bracket. It also changes the roll centre slightly. So under hard braking conditions, where the standard vehicle does have, again, back to the wishy-washy kind of feel to it, it has a lot of brake dive. By bringing that control arm parallel with the ground, you get a lot less weight transfer because your leverage point has increased. So that, combined with a stiffer spring rate, a shock which is tuned specifically for that, plus the better geometry on the front end, what you get is a vehicle that you've just lifted, but actually drop it off the ramp, it drives better.
Non-lifted, yeah.
So that's a bit alien in the world of off-road and lifting vehicles. People go, oh, it's not going to drive as good, but it's certainly not the case. And honestly, anyone who doesn't believe so, come down and drive one of our Jeeps. You'll be surprised. So, yeah.
Can't wait to test it out.
That's it. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
The ride home will be
the
sweet.
ride height, AEV 2.5 generally nets around 3.25 inch of lift. That's worth noting.
A little bit more as well. Yeah.
So you can load it up, put all your camp. We know you like to run a bit heavy, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think this system will be suited to your needs and pretty much everyone's needs, really, to be honest. That's what we like about it. It's a well-rounded...
Good all-rounder.
Yeah. And that's what it's got to be. There can't be a compromise of on-road ability, because essentially these vehicles are spending 95% of their time on the road.
Of course they are, yeah. I mean, especially in the UK. But also, I think in the UK, because the rock crawling scene is massive in America, obviously, but in the UK, we're more likely to go on a trip somewhere, do some camping, carry in all the gear, and this is just the perfect solution.
What we like to say is it's a fit and forget kit. So it's one of those solutions that once it's done, I think investing heavily in your suspension as well as tyres, those two things are pretty much the things which keep you on the road. So what I would say is if you're looking at doing your own DIY build or putting your vehicle together, spend the money on suspension and tyres, because
suspension, tyres, drop down tailgate table and a fridge. That's all you need.
As long as the beers are cold, right?
Yeah, they're the most important things. I mean, I know I'm joking, but those really are the things that would be priority with every Jeep that we ever have.
That's it. I mean,
the first things we do.
Rock sliders, again, as you can see, you've not changed them. They don't really need changing, and I genuinely
we've
think
only rubbed on one or two things.
So that kind of shows the use that the vehicles get.
Good enough, yeah.
So that's it, really. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, brilliant.
And let's get on with the install.
Yeah. Let's get this thing finished.
About time you had a straight steering wheel, mate.
So that's it for another video. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it at least mildly informative. A bit different from our usual trail videos. Can't thank Alex enough and Dan for doing all the spanner work. If you guys want to get your suspension sorted, speak to Alex, or
if you want any information about what we've just spoke about or further detailed information, happy to help you. Just give me a shout, drop us an email to info@buzzspecialvehicles.co.uk or just drop us a call. I'll be happy to help you.
I'm sure you can tell already that we're sitting a little bit higher. No sag at the back. Drives, well, so far so good. We've only been down the street and back, but we've got a 3.5 hour journey back, so
we'll also
give it a test on the road.
We'll also be testing off-road soon.
Yep, a couple of weeks time, 2 or 3 weeks time, we've got a little outing. And we're also going to get together with Alex and his other half who drives a Jimny, and we're going to take her out on the lanes and see how that goes. As we use it, as we try it out, we'll give you what our thoughts are on the differences. And saying that, we now have a Teraflex ST2 2.5 inch lift kit, slightly used, to give away. Perfect for rock crawling, general off-roading, not so good for carrying heavy loads, which is the whole point, the whole reason why we've changed it. But yeah, it's in good condition, and for right-hand drive, not Rubicon specific, as long as it's a JLU. And we will be doing that on our Facebook group.
Yeah, Modified Jeeps UK Facebook group.
Yeah, so look out for that, and we'll bring that to you soon. Enter that. You will need to be UK residents, because we're not going to ship that anywhere else really.
Back to the US.
Yeah. But yeah, look out for that, and I guess that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yep. So
don't forget to subscribe, like the video.
Yeah, and click the little bell icon if you want to be informed of other videos.
And give Buzz Special Vehicles a follow as well.
Yeah, give them a phone call.
That's it. Get booked in.
And we'll see you in the next video.
See you in the next one.